Hello and welcome to Microsoft Intune free training series. This lecture is Microsoft Intune training series number 5, meaning you also have 4 other series of lectures. In case if you have not watched out or checked out, please do check out. Links has been given in the description of this video. And you also have a YouTube playlist. You can go through that playlist to get all the videos in one by one. Now let's come back to the agenda of this lecture. Within this lecture, we're going to learn about how to customize Azure Active Directory company branding, meaning let's say you are trying to sign in with your user ID and a password. You might have your own company logo and the background and the text format. That's what we call it as Azure AD company branding. And also similarly, you also have something called Intune company portal customization. Company portal customization will help you in terms of the end user experience and customizing the look and feel and the color and the font, as well as you can also configure your terms and conditions when they are trying to enroll the devices. So let's begin. As a first step, we will talk about Azure AD company branding. In most of the cases, this might be already configured for you, and this task will be performed by your AD guys, not by you. And since we are trying in our lab environment, you might have to configure this. And Azure AD company branding also required for autopilot. So in case if you are trying to use the autopilot feature with the help of Intune, you might need to have already configured the specific setting. And that's the first one which we are going to learn within this video. To configure this configuration in Microsoft Azure, you need to point to portal.azure.com and select Azure Active Directory, and within this you have an options for company branding. This is where you can customize company branding. And in case if it is already configured, you might have here a list of things that has been already configured state. But in our case, it's not there. That's why I'm getting a one more configure button and click on the configure button and fill these information. So if you look at here, the language is a default, meaning you could configure if a user coming from a German, we can easily show in a German language the entire UI. Similarly, if a page is coming from Chinese, then Mandarin, it might be possible. So it's possible to configure that, but at least you need to have one default one. So in this case we are configuring default one. So the first option here, we can see the background image, the sign in background image. Let me show you what I'm trying to say background. For example, if I type Chris at LAN in my lab.com, background currently is configured in the complete blue color, right? So this is for the background. So I'm talking about this changes. So how can I change this? I could actually create a company approved image size within this pixel size with a complete background image. So in my case, I've already created, I will be using that company background. So this is the one which I wanted to use it. And followed by banner logo. A banner logo indicates, if you look at here, the cursor moving, mouse cursor, this is the company logo. So this can be changed with a background color with a logo. So in my case, I'm just configuring in a PaddyMaddy as the background. So later point, if a user try to log in, I should be able to see here, instead of the Microsoft, I should be able to see PaddyMaddy. And you might have a child domain or system concerned company. So in that situation, you can give a user hint that, hey, you should log in. For example, the username, and you can say that this is the UPN should be used, should be given. Something like that. You can give a hint so that it will appear just below the forgot my password as the hint for end user. Now, advanced settings. Within this advanced settings, you can see here squared logo, which I'm giving. So this is the squared logo, and squared logo in a dark theme. So in case if a user coming from a dark theme, this is what it's going to apply. And you can also use keep me sign in protocol or the cookie for the user to remain sign in button. So click on yes in case if you like it, and then say save. So once you save, what will happen is here you would get it here one configuration. Later point, if you want to configure multiple things, you can configure. Now you see, if you want to configure, this is the default one. In case if I want to configure in a different language, like all these languages are supported, like Dutch or Netherlands specific, or different languages are supported, so based on that you can actually create it. But this is the at least one should be available in case if you're trying to do the autopilot configuration. So that concludes how to configure Azure Active Directory company branding. So let's sign in and see the experience, how it's going to work. If you see earlier, when we tried earlier with the Chris at learninlab.com, learninmylab.com, it was actually showing with the this kind of experience, right? We would just close this, and one more time we'll try to log in and see. As soon as I enter Chris at learninmylab.com, it has changed my background, and also user ID coming up, and the password also coming. So I can enter the user password, and then I can simply log in. If you notice here, the username hint is not coming up. This could be because we didn't configure properly the sign-in page text. We'll just add this and simply do a refresh after saving. Let's experience how this goes. Now if you see here, the username at learnmylab.com is properly showing. So that's a simple configuration that might, if you are interested, you can do that configuration. So far we have configured Azure AD specific company branding. Now it's time for us to move to Microsoft Endpoint Manager Admin Center and try to configure the Intune portal specific configuration. Let's do the configuration with the Intune company portal customization. Within this, we are going to work with the end user experience and customization and terms and conditions. We're going to work on it. Let's understand what exactly company portal. Company portal is an application that is available from your Apple iStore, or maybe App Store, or maybe Google Play Store, or even Microsoft Store also. It is available, meaning the three platforms that we're going to work on, like Android, iOS specific, and Microsoft Windows. It is available as application, very similar to your Gmail or any other application, right? So you have an application model, so that application look and feel you can actually customize. So if you think why we need to understand about the company portal, is a company portal will make you enable, when I say you as an end user, so we will give the end user ability to give a company look and feel. So you don't need to develop any other application. Instead, you use a Microsoft built-in available application, that's a company portal application, and customize it so that you get a great experience, rich experience. You can expect like a company logo and the color and the font, all of that, including the support information like your email ID and your phone number or your support hours. You can all mention all of that stuff so that users can contact by using that application. But you might be thinking, what is the use of this application? The use case for this is, like, let's say you as an Intune administrator push some applications or maybe some configuration, so that configuration can be pulled by end user and he can see what is wrong or whether that application is available for him or not. He can see, or he can pull the policy to get it as soon as possible basis. So this is what this is what we can say about the company portal. So that company portal, we are going to customize it so that way. Let's have a look on. So if you look at the Microsoft Intune company portal, this company portal is an application which will be available in 3 different tabs, if you see here. So the first one would be the devices. So let's say if a user like Jesse might be logged in multiple devices, so all of the devices will be shown here, and if any device is not up to the company standards, it will show as a red color, and it will give you here an option saying that, hey, you must have to fix the problem. And coming back to the apps, so you can check out what are the applications are available so that you can install them as if it is configured as a optional. In case if it is configured as the mandatory, it gets automatically installed, of course. But for the available options, you can check out here, and you can even search for the applications and get it install them. And coming back to the support, you see here the support, the company name you can mention, and you can mention the phone number, you can mention the email ID, and also the support hours, all of that, including the web portal. So you can easily specify, for example, the local IT help desk portal. So that IT help desk portal, they can simply click on that and they can log in with their ID, and then they can raise a ticket from there, or they can check the status, or maybe you might have their escalation matrix. Who knows, you can give that kind of URL that can be visible for the user. So what we talked about adding here a logo. If you see here, I'll find SKS houses, specific logo can be given, and this color can be given, and also that's it, I think. So this is what the company portal, and the customization can be done. So let's jump into the demo. To do the configuration, you can simply open up Endpoint Manager Admin Center, and this is a portal. That's where you're going to work on most of the time throughout this course. Click on Tenant Administration. You have an option here for End User Experience section, which has the customization. So this is where you can customize so that the company specific information will be visible on this. So let's have a look on by clicking on Edit. You can customize. This is where you can mention your company name. For example, if it is your IT company, you can mention as your IT. So in my case, I'm just giving PaddyMaddy IT team example, and you can choose your custom color or a standard color. So I'm going to choose my orange color in this case so that it can be visible for you. And here the organization only or logo and name also can be shown in your header information, and you can upload your background color. In my case, the logo I wanted to upload so that it will be showing like this, and white background also one more time, and uploading your brand image. My brand image is this, let's say, and support information. So you can give your contact name, phone number, email ID, all of that stuff. Let me fill the values automatically. So I just fill this information like contact name as IT team, and my phone number, and my phone number, that's in fact. So email address and website name and URL of my IT portal, and also the support information I just given here. And apart from this, you can also configure your privacy statement so that they know that what exactly the privacy concerns, that if they have anything they can visit this page. So you can configure your privacy statement as a URL. So that's it. It's pretty much we have done the customization part, and remaining things you can go through it on your own, or maybe we can come back later point. But simply click on save. That saves the configuration for us. And the next step within the end user experience, terms and conditions. So terms and conditions are very important, that if a user try to enroll, he must have to read and understand the terms and conditions so that they follow the compliance level. This is the statement that very important, that the rules for end users, if they are trying to use your electronic data or maybe devices. In this case, for example, if they're coming up with a bring your own device, we should be able to specify what is that permissions we are going to gain on that device, and determine who owns that information will be stored on the device. Let's say company data has been available or maybe available on that device during the enrollment process, or maybe during the use cases. If that's the case, who owns the data? Is the company or the end user? Because the device owned by end user, so you must have to specify such information in the terms and condition. Definitely in this case, the company should own the data that respected to the company specific organization data, and that kind of configuration you should be mentioning here. So normally this information you will be getting from your compliance officer. please do check out your complaints officer so that they can help you out the terms and conditions, and you can fill those values. Let's say these are terms and conditions, and for your information, this is also important that for some kind of compliance policies, let's say auditing, when a company comes for a audit, for example, maybe HIPAA compliance policy or some other compliance policies, ISO standards, they might ask you these kind of authorization or information that whether the user is accepted or not. In case if the user is not accepted, he cannot proceed further. If a user is accepted, it meaning that he has gone through all these terms and conditions, understand the complications in case if any legal changes or legal cases come up, then he knows that what we are trying to do. I just filled this information like the title and the terms and conditions. These are close to 5,000 characters you can enter, whereas the summary of the terms are 500 characters. So I have created a PDF file which I'm gonna share within the Google Drive. You can check out the lecture. If I'm correct, the lecture 1 has all the course related specific content. You can just check out there. So this is where the terms and conditions are available. You can simply use those in your case and simply assign this to all users and create. This will configure the customization with end user experience. To conclude this short lecture, we tried Azure Active Directory company branding, which is very useful for us in order to achieve the Windows autopilot, and also for a rich experience for the end users, we use the Intune company portal customization, and also for the compliance policies, we configure the terms and conditions. So these are the customizations that we have done before we jump into the Intune enrollment. So the next lecture should be on a enrollment on a different type of platforms. Please do check out that lecture. Thank you for watching this. What do you think? Do you think that these configuration might be already available on your company? If so, please do comment in this comment section. If you like it, please do share and ask any questions that you have about Microsoft Intune. Thank you.